Hello everyone, this is Take from bigheadtaco.com, and I'm here in the Central District of Hong Kong. And what exactly this area is? Central District, but
this is the what they call LegCo, which is the Legislative Assembly building where they pass the laws and councillors meet.
Very good.
Yeah,
it's quite an older building.
It's a beautiful colonial era heritage building. Yeah.
Excellent. I thought this would be an appropriate area to introduce this video. It's of a more serious nature. This was one of the personal projects that you had. We had many fun projects that we did together, but this one was something that you wanted to do on your own. You want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm naturally I'm a storyteller and a photojournalist, and so I really like to find stories that interest me, that might interest other people, and go in and explore the situation and tell their story.
Yeah.
So refugees. The refugee crisis around the world is a big issue right now, especially with Syria and the huge migration that's happening. But we forget there's other refugee problems around the world.
Yes.
And here in Hong Kong, there's about 10,000 refugees that are sort of stuck in this political paradox of not being able to leave or stay.
Yes.
And some of them have been stuck here for 12 years.
Wow.
And so it sort of intrigued me, and so I went to see if I could find them and document the situation.
Very good. So let's watch a little a clip of that and the sort of the pictures that you've taken, and then after the video, the clip, then we'll talk more about the process that you went through to get the image. I think that's one of the things. Of course, the subject is important, but a lot of people want to know what is the process of a photojournalist and how do they get the story. So let's turn to the clip, and then we'll talk about it after.
And you're getting support from the Hong Kong government?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And do you want to stay in Hong Kong? You want to stay here? Become a permanent resident?
Yeah.
Oh, Twix, that's my favorite. Is that for me? Yeah? Can I have? Is it for you or for me? For me? I like Twix. I'm going to take it.
Okay.
It's my favorite chocolate bar. Really? That and Mars bar. Just sit up a bit more. There you go. Yeah, thank you. Here, you know what?
It's okay, it's okay.
Sit on the stool. Sit on the stool. That's better. Yeah, thank you. And then lean forward. Yeah, just that's it. That's it.
Excellent. Thanks, John. That was a very moving video. It's very like rough, kind of, like run and gun, but it's appropriate to what you did, and as well, the pictures that you got were fantastic. And I was kind of surprised how you did that.
Well, we made the decision that I would go on my own with my friend and former colleague Arthur Tsang, because we just I didn't want to bring, David and you up there and invade all these people's lives. They live in such a small area and such a tight-knit community that, 5 of us walking in and sort of taking over might have been a little too disruptive and
I think that
a
was
little
a good decision.
too, aggressive.
Yes.
So, I went there with Arthur, who worked for Reuters one time and lives in Hong Kong now. And lived in Bangkok and worked in Beijing, was actually in Tiananmen Square when the uprising happened in 89?
Yeah, it's been a while now,
June 89?
Yes.
And was there and was one of the 3 photographers to capture Tank Man, the man with the shopping bag standing in front of the tank.
Yeah, they call him actually don't they call him the other, what do they call the other photographer? Because the other one hit the press first. The AP picture.
There was AP and there was he was working for Reuters and because back then it was very hard to transmit, so his film went out by plane.
Yeah.
So,
so he's a good friend of yours.
Yes.
And I did meet him just a short while as you were planning this project. And just to talk a little bit about his role, it was interesting as you started using photojournalistic words like stakeholders and what's the other word? I have to write it down.
Stakeholder is a good one. Stakeholder is
fixers, all those kind of words, right?
Okay.
So maybe we can explain that a little bit. So Arthur is your friend.
Yeah. So I lived in Hong Kong for 4 years, and I know my way around pretty good. And
yes.
I speak some pidgin sort of Cantonese enough to get myself in trouble and order some food.
Yeah.
But really, when you're doing a story of that magnitude, you need much better clarity about the situation and how you're going to get there. So Arthur helped me out, helped me find a car and driver to take me up there and find the correct location.
Yes.
And then was able to also shoot a little bit of video with the
Ricoh GR.
Yeah.
And that was actually a good decision too, because the Ricoh is also a very small, compact. People wouldn't think he was this professional news crew coming through, and he actually got some pretty cinematic type shots. Some of those angles were actually kind of neat. But
and you probably noticed that I was using an iPhone.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I made that decision on purpose. Actually, before I even left Canada, I thought 2 reasons. I'm always trying to prove that you can use any type of medium to take pictures with, and you'll be successful with your photography. But you need to remember it's a tool and it has limitations.
Yes.
I also thought it'd be an interesting way to document the situation because everybody's so used to being photographed with a smartphone. They don't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
And so when I pulled it out, I was amazed they didn't even flinch. And
well, that light was a bit bright.
Yeah, it was a little bright, but you got to remember the limitations of the iPhone. So if you want to take a good portrait, you need good lighting.
That's right.
And I really wanted. The other thing with the iPhone is it allows you to get so close, closer than any like Leica or DSLR, unless you're using a macro lens. And I really wanted the viewer to look very, you see the intensity in their emotion in their eyes.
You could tell it was a wide-angle lens, which it is. It's about a 29 mil.
Right.
So that is a very photojournalistic kind of angle of view to shoot from.
And I wanted that, that the sort of, I don't want to call it fashion lighting, but it's that lighting, that intense lighting that encompasses the lens. And I wanted you to be able to see their skin and their pores and the emotion and the intensity in their eyes, and I think it captured it quite well. Actually, I was surprised with the results myself.
Well, photographically, fantastic. But again, going back to the process of how you got it,
right?
So you did use the term fixer.
Yeah.
And although Arthur is your friend, he's not there are professional fixers in the industry for the Globe and Mail. So if you went to China, Afghanistan, you would know someone on the ground that will.
Well, in Beijing, the Globe and Mail's an office there, and there's somebody on staff that helps with translation and organizing things. Not everywhere is there somebody on staff, and if you go somewhere, then you hire somebody.
And you mentioned that even some places, typically a driver that can speak English.
Yeah, sometimes
that's just what you have to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to the other thing that's really important is this term of subjects.
Yes.
And I prefer actually, although it's I guess a bit awkward, is stakeholders.
Yes.
So I think about it, stakeholder, somebody that's involved with the situation. So I'm a stakeholder in telling their story, so I have some responsibilities in that. Plus, that's my profession, so I want to do it properly. They're willing to share their story with me, so they're a stakeholder as well because they have a story to tell. They feel it's important, so that's why they're willing to talk to me. Yeah. But also, like my company, my organization, the newspaper, the Globe and Mail, they're also a stakeholder, so they have an interest in publishing this. And so I think it's a better term to use, a stakeholder, and you understand now why people do get involved and why people want to take involved in journalism and why people want to tell their stories. You
Yes.
know, I mean, it's a three-way street, and
Very
so
good.
everybody's working on the same thing together.
Yeah, and I thought that was a neat way of saying it, because as a photographer, we use the word subject,
Yeah.
and we never say object unless you're taking pictures of
Yeah.
things. But it's subject, but it is kind of a one-way. And we talk about there's being a relationship, but it still seems like it's a one-way thing. But yours is it's very connected.
Yeah, if you think of subject, like if you were a paid portrait photographer and somebody came to you and to pay you to take your picture, then obviously that's a subject that you're taking a picture of,
Yes.
right? Whereas a stakeholder, it has a different sort of continuity, it's a different sort of term, which I think is more fitting.
Yeah, don't you think it actually adds a layer beyond photography in that there's a story?
Yeah.
So as a photojournalist, you are a storyteller.
Yeah.
And and when you use the term stakeholder, the subject, as we would call it, now that they're a stakeholder, clearly it's their story that they have. It's that's part of what they are and what they want to tell.
Yeah.
And that story is passed on through you through a visual medium, and then it's passed on to whatever media. I mean, even this video is where I guess I'm a stakeholder now.
Yeah, I'm a stakeholder.
Yeah.
I'm trying to educate people, and you're trying to help educate people. So
Very good.
yeah, exactly. And YouTube's also a stakeholder, right? Because they're in it for the profit. So once you think I guess it's thinking outside the box about the entire situation, then it allows a bit more clarity on what's going on.
Yeah. Now let's not that like people want to know the process of how you get these stories and how you come up with the stories, but a little bit about you call it the political paradox of the refugees in Hong Kong. And without, I guess we'd have to, both of us, including yourself, would have to do a lot more research to understand the depth of the situation. But can you explain a little bit about because I mean, most of us, even my mother-in-law didn't really know a lot about it, and she lives here a lot of the year. So can you explain?
I don't think it's something that's really talked about a lot here. So a lot of these, some of these refugees that are here now snuck in illegally through China. We met one man who came from Kashmir, and took him 15 days and about 12,000 Hong Kong dollars, and that was about 15 years ago. And made his way through to Shenzhen and then onto a boat. And he said it was incredibly scary. And at one point, when they just reached into Hong Kong waters, the Hong Kong police surrounded the boat.
Oh, wow.
And the captain tried to evade, and they shot the captain.
Oh, wow.
In the leg, and he ended up going to jail for 6 years too. But he's now stuck here, and without a passport, and he can't really leave. He's not really welcome to stay.
Why doesn't he have a passport?
The government has taken it away, or maybe he didn't have it with him because he was sneaking into the country.
Okay.
A few of the women were domestic workers and got married and then pregnant, and so, unfortunately, I guess the places they were working saw a little need for a pregnant woman to be helping them, so they got let go from their jobs, and because they're now married to a foreign national, they can't really go back home either. So there's a number of reasons why they're refugees, and that's not so what's the important part. The important part is that they are refugees, and the situation needs to be dealt with because it's quite inhumane.
Yeah, and so where is it? So it's up in the New Territories?
Yeah, it's just a couple of kilometers from the Chinese border.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and a place called Yunlong.
And they're not fenced in, obviously, because you
they have
mentioned
freedom
that,
of movement.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids go to school.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not allowed to work. If they get caught working, they go to prison for 40 days the first time. The second time, it's up to a year.
But many of them, they have. Does the government give them funding?
They give them like food stamps.
Oh, I see.
So they have a certain amount of money they can spend every month on. The UNHCR used to provide their funding, but I guess they got frustrated with the lengthy delays, and so they pulled out. And so the Hong Kong government has taken over their welfare. Right?
Very good.
But you talk to any of them, they don't want to live like this on welfare, right?
No.
They want to work. That's why they escaped where they were living.
Yes.
They come here to try and get work and better their lives.
Yes. And now they're stuck. And you did mention that many of them do have their passports taken away.
They all have their passports taken away.
So that is that paradox where even if they wanted to keep it, they're not allowed to. And they said, forget it, I want to go back to my home country. They can't because their passports are being held by the government.
And once you're a refugee somewhere, it's very hard to immigrate to another country. So if you're in your own country and you want to immigrate to Canada, you go and you apply.
There's a process.
There's a process. But once you're a refugee in a third country, it's very difficult to get into another country unless you're actually invited. Unless the Canadian government says, or the American government says, yes, please, we will take a number of refugees in that situation. So
the story that so obviously when we first came to Hong Kong, we knew that you would have this one personal project that would be, I don't want to say serious, but no, it is serious. Like can we talk about some of the other ones you were thinking about? Do you want to talk about that, or like
sure.
the caged man and
yeah.
the homelessness, and then this refugee? So you had a pick of the three,
Yeah.
and you kind of thought about which one you wanted to do.
Yeah.
You do a bit of background.
I did some research
information.
online, and
Yes.
obviously I had Arthur here helping me, and
Yes.
I sort of presented 3 projects to him that I was working on, and he did a bit more research,
Yes.
and then I got thinking, I feel like homelessness and caged men or caged men are people who live in confined spaces here, are subjects that have been done and are not really of an international interest. Whereas I thought, the refugee crisis that's going on, refugees at the top of everybody's mind.
It's a very topical subject
yeah,
right now,
exactly.
for sure.
Yeah.
So
that was the decision on that.
Yeah. And so we kind of know the whole process now of how you pick an idea, you go find a fixer. There are stakeholders in this. Now, once this is all done, you present it to Globe and Mail.
Yeah, so I will give this project to the Globe and Mail for publication.
And then they will decide. Then they will do further research.
I'll finish the research. I'll write a short story to go with it, and
okay.
Usually I'm assigned, or I do come up with my own projects as well.
Yeah, some assignments you are assigned to.
Yeah.
And other ones you feel strongly about, so you decide to pursue it yourself, and then you present to them after.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of risk when you do those things.
Yeah, I don't. Well, usually I would. I think this is getting complicated.
Yeah, I don't want to call it a risk, but it is good that you do believe in something, and it's a project you want to pursue, and you kind of did unusual things using an iPhone.
Yeah.
And doing a subject that is topical but maybe somewhat controversial. So that's very commendable.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it was a smart decision not to have my producer and myself to tag along and have 5 of us running around and trying to do a big head taco video. This is we left you alone to do your job, and you did a great job.
Yeah. Well, it was a great experience. It was great meeting the people, and I hope their situation gets better.
Yeah, very good, excellent. So thank you so much, John, for doing this personal project and sharing it with me on my channel, and be able to share it with my audience as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully we will see it on the Globe and Mail. But at least anything, it'll be on YouTube through myself as a stakeholder now in this for this video. So thank you so much for watching. John, thank you for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon.